Well, good evening, everybody. How are you? I am doing well. I know that there's a break in the football action, so we're gonna slide these poets right on in here before the 8:30 Sunday night football comes on. And I don't even know who's playing, but I'm just glad we're here. But we're here to celebrate Black Poetry Day. Can you believe it? October 17th. They slid that in, and I'm good. April was poetry month, and we celebrated then. But they did it again. I said, "Oh no, I got to go live with the poets." So I'm Julia Royston of BK Royston Publishing, Royal Media and Publishing, and the coaching community, the book business bosses, helping you get your message to the masses, turn your words into wealth, and be a book business boss. So I hope you've had a great Sunday. You're getting yourself all ready for the week and all that good stuff. But we're gonna spit some great poetry to you. Be sure and support these authors and reach out, follow them on social media, buy their books, have them appear on your platforms, especially in April during National Poetry Month. And I'm going to be continuing to push it. I don't write as much poetry as I used to. But this helps inspire me when I hear other poets, and I write here and there. But I will have to say, my very first book, and then I'm going to read from it and show you my very first book ever. Number one, I found it. I found a copy of my very, very first book was a book of poetry. And then the rest is I just delved into all kinds of different genres. But I'm going to let Mr. Brooks Crittenden start us off this evening and all that good stuff. They're going to introduce themselves. And thank you so much. Please like, share, comment. And we're going to have the snaps going up. They're going to introduce themselves where that people can follow them on social media. And then I want them to tell us about their book and or books of poetry, and then tell people where they can buy the book, and then they're going to spit two poems for you. So and then after that, we're going to be out of your way. If you're interested in writing, if you got poems that you got in a notebook somewhere and you've been sliding them in a drawer and you're thinking, oh, well, they did it, I might be able to do it too, reach out to me. Go to talkwithroyston.com. You can find all my connection information at solo.co/Julia A. Royston. So I'm going to get out of your way. I'm so glad you're all here, and appreciate everybody here. We're going to go ahead and start with Brooks, and we're going to get out of the stream. And Brooks, take it away.
How's everybody doing? Like she said, my name is my given name was Brooks Crittenton, but TLK Poetry, that's the name that was given to me. I published 2 poetry books in the last year: Poetry's Poesy Volume 1, Scattered Thoughts, and Poetry Poesy Volume 2, Scattered Prayers. Both came out in April. You can find me at TLK Poetry at Instagram. You can DM me, message me if you want a copy, and the cash app, and I can give you your books. The first poem that I want to recite to you guys is out of my first book, out of Scattered Thoughts. The poem is called I Am a Poet. So here we go. I am a poet built from the dirt. I am a poet who had to learn his worth. I am a poet understanding the importance of my work, but being built off dirt is not easy. Believe me, you have to learn how it feels to be stepped on, played with, tricked. Sold on the idea I could be a magnificent castle built with no hassle, no upcoming delays. Forever I believed I would stay until that day I would lose that trust. All it took was somebody not paying attention and crushed. It was that easy to break me, not understanding I had no foundation, no pillars to hold me up. Just in a split second, I lost my luck. I am a poet who had to learn his worth. See, from being dirt to understanding my possibilities took a lot of work, not just time. They had to change the thought process in my mind. When you have nothing and you're used to getting stepped on, coming across a lick, justifying why you could do that, crimes are things you'll never forget. Being told you're a king doesn't always mean you believe these things. So what they did was they sat me down, making me look at images in my background. And what I found, I was made to be strong. Withstanding emotional trauma, I was meant to last long. Whatever the obstacle, we just got to move on. However you do it, because grandpa used to sing old spiritual songs. Grandma used to say you could place your foot, you can put your face in that book and you could start with songs. Finally realizing my body was made to withstand storms. It was told to me when the doctor cut my umbilical cord. He informed my mom the importance of me being born. I am a poet, understanding the importance of my work, not underestimating the power behind my words. Yes, I heard the saying, sticks and stones could break my bones, but words can never hurt me. Lies. Kids getting bullied over the internet, not physically touched, but committing suicide. Sometimes poets don't know when we're on stage, we hold your lies, reading off words we write on these blue lines. My responsibility as a poet is to say what's in my dome, rather it be a love poem or I hate you, I want to break up poem, or I'm standing in front of you, here is my heart poem. What I'm trying to say is I'm needed because I am a poet. And that was, like I said, that was in my volume 1, Scattered Thoughts. You can find me on Instagram at TLK Poetry. I appreciate y'all vibing out and listening. Now I want to introduce Scattered Prayers. This is like I said, my second volume, different prayers that I pray to the Most High, because without him you can't make it. But I wanted to introduce myself. When I tell people that my name is TLK, my book describes the process of what I do, you know, how I'm walking with the Most High. So this one's called TLK. So here it goes. I am the last king. Yah, protect my heart, be the ointment on my scars. When I look in the mirror, I see you. David, Samson, Saul. You gave me the strength to knock down any walls. My Father's grace keeps my head tall. Guide me during this spiritual warfare. My enemy is in the midst. I feel him near, lurking, working. He's real. I'm armed with no steel. I am the last king poetry. Teach me to act as such. Your laws are just. Your word I trust. When I had nothing, you filled my cup. The crown that rests on my head is not mine. I seek no recognition in my eyes. I'm only a lion watching over his pride. When you roar through me, the ground starts shaking. You open my heart to witness your amazement. I appreciate this seat in this lineage of royalty, but know me as your humble servant. Diligently working on your purpose. That battlefield no longer has me nervous. I praise your name. My walk done changed. I ask you to be the head over my reign, the last king poetry. I am grateful for this given name. And like I said, that was volume 2, Scattered Prayers. Just like I said, just out here just working. Royal Media giving me a platform to just be an author and to spread my message through this platform. And like I said, you can find me at TLK Poetry.
So what comes first? The idea for the words, or just words just spill out of your head?
It's both. It can come in dreams. It could be a dream that I have. In my first book, I have a poem in there called Nightmare that actually was a dream. That I seen. Sometimes the words just come when I just I just let the words come, or sometimes it's just mapped out. It depends. Or the idea will come and I'll be like, that's a great idea, and I just start writing from that idea. So it could come either way as the writer.
Right. Can it come if somebody says, okay, Brooks, we need you to write on I don't know, injustice, or write on, and you can think about it long enough and write it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So if they were like, I need a poem on injustice, like that's the idea. I would take some time to ponder on it, but I'll be able to write because you know what I mean. As poetry, as poets, our responsibility is to speak for the ones that can't speak. So you know what I
Right.
mean.
Or
That's
don't want to speak.
that's my
Or don't want
responsibility
to.
being here on
Yeah.
this earth is to speak for the ones that can't speak
Yeah. Or don't want to.
or don't
Or
want to.
they choose to be silent. Exactly, exactly. So because I know some people say that they can't write a poetry, they can't write anything unless they're inspired, whether if God doesn't give it to me, I won't have it. And when that's fine,
Right.
but over time you mature, and as you do it more and more and more, you're able to just go for it and
Yeah.
knock it out the park.
Like practice makes perfect, you know what I mean? The
Exactly.
early stages sometimes it's just those moments. When I was, younger, it was like the moments I would get the poem and I'll write it. But like you said, the more and more I write, like I write every day. Every day, like
Yeah.
I do this because it's something that I love to do.
Yeah. And that's what I tell people. How serious about it are you? Do you write because you love to, or are you just writing because, you saw somebody else do it and then you thought you were going to try it? It's going to be a little difficult for you if you don't fall in love with it. You got to give your
Right.
whole self to it.
You
You
have to you have to
definitely
you have
do.
to love to write, to just want to do it all day. I love
Yeah.
to write. So
Yeah.
that's just what.
Yeah. I know. As they say, I know we have to go to work and they got bills to pay, but yeah, I would do it too. The creative
But
process.
it's also, as an author, it provides you to be an entrepreneur yourself. Like you become your own business, your own brand.
Yes,
You
you
learn
do.
from, and not that much of an investment in yourself, for real, for real. Like,
No, go for it. You get
what
your
I'm
pen
saying?
on
So
paper and you make it happen, or computer, or speak it, or however you do it, and you make it happen. Well, thank you,
yes,
Brooks.
ma'am.
We appreciate it. Thank you. Well, coming up next, let's go to Massachusetts. Hello, Miss Leslie. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us where you're from, how people can follow you on social media, and purchase your books, and then spit two poems for.
All right. Hi, I'm Leslie Guidi. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. And you can find me on Facebook at Leslie Guidi, or you can go to Instagram at Orange Justicity. And or you can, if you want a autographed copy, you can cash at me at $Orange Justic. I'm about to read from my poetry book. It's called I'm 25. And the reason why I call it I'm 25 is because people keep asking me how old I am, and I tell them I'm 25. So it has um, 25 poems in the book. So the first poem that I'm about to read it's about love. It's called A Love Lesson. Um, so the love lesson, it says, if you look back in time, you can find someone who is checking on you all the time. You thought they were bothering you, getting in your stuff. You thought they were being annoying and they talked too much. But those were people who really cared, the ones you should be listening to and pull up a chair. They were concerned that you were going down the wrong path. And when you smelled and were dirty, sent you to take a bath. We have to pay attention that there are people who want to see you crack, but not but but make it seem like they have your back. Some people think that you think love you, want to see you fail, and nowhere around when you find yourself in jail. Not even money in your canteen or a cigarette. Cold shoulder is what you're going to get. Not all people who say they love you really do. You will really know their love when they show you. Love is an action word. See what you hear. Pretending is see what you heard. Pretending is absurd and for the birds. Listen, take heed, succeed. Agreed? Discern who is your friend and who is not. Up in nonsense is where you're going to get caught. If your best is what they want from you, they love you. If asked to participate in negativity, get them away from you. Life is too precious, too valued, too short. There are people who genuinely love you who pretend to in all sorts. Remember, there are the ones who want to see you progress, and there are the ones who will lead you into negative mess. Love promotes and hate provokes. You have a choice between a cursing and a blessing. Please study and learn this valuable love lesson. So, I have another poem. It's from my I'm 25 book, and it's called My Song. Um, when I first start my song, I had no idea what it would sound like. I just stand stage fright in front of the mic. I stood there forgetting when to come in. Before it began, I was hoping it would end. Something inside me told me to get a grip, lift up my hands, and began to worship. All of a sudden, a familiar beat started to resound. Words started flowing so much easier now. I started to get into my element. The song was beautiful, it was God sent. I started to understand the rhythm of my life by listening to my heart and hearing Christ. It all became clear. I came to know that song. When I sing it, I forget the things that have gone wrong. Now I am the happiest that I've ever been. When tribulations come, I'll just start singing my song. So I love writing poetry.
Yay! Yay! Well, thank you so much, Leslie. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Leslie Guidi on Facebook or Injustice City. I had a speech impediment with S's, so saying this is a major feat. Thank you for my speech therapist and Cash App or Injustice. Yay!
Also, um unlike TLK,
Uh-huh.
I I don't write my own poetry. I see words in my peripheral vision, and I don't know what the poem is going to be like until it gets onto the paper.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
so I'm more of like an inspirational writer, and
Okay.
if you asked me to write a poem,
About a
I,
specific topic?
right, that wouldn't
It won't happen.
it won't happen unless God give it to me.
So you have to pray for God to give it to you.
Right, I have to
Yeah.
pray for them because it
And I
doesn't
do that sometimes when stuff
like
is difficult.
automatically.
I have to do the exact same thing. I have to, I'm writing 2 children's books and I'm going to do it in poetry form and rhyming and I guess that's the closest thing to real poetry that I've been writing children's
Right,
books so that they rhyme. And it was difficult because I'm like that's a place I don't want to go. I mean,
right,
even though it's not like, demonic or anything, grief is a part of life, but I'm like, I
right,
don't, I'm usually trying to be a upbeat person, but I'm like, I need 10 stanzas and I'm at stanza 7. So
right.
he's giving it
So
to me. He's
so
giving it to
yeah,
me.
so if you asked me to write a poem, like say if I did it in my own strength, it would probably seem like a 5-year-old wrote
Right.
it.
I understand. I
Because
clearly do. I clearly
right,
do. I
God
clearly
speaks to me
understand.
that way too. He speaks to me. Um, he'll give me poetry like answering to my prayer,
Right.
or if I'm praying about somebody who has low self-esteem, he'll give
Mhm.
me a poem to read for that circumstance or for that person. So
Right. But everybody has to know how they get it and they have to know
right,
exactly how it works for them. And so,
right,
when I first started out, I got my book of poetry. That's how it came, all of it. But over time, even writing music, he's like, he gives me the first verse and the chorus and says, "Big girl, you get the hook and the second verse, and you get a vamp if it needs one. Bye, I'm out." And I'm like, "What? Wait a minute, give it." No, he said, you got it from here. You can
right.
do it from
Same
here."
with me with songs. I get bits and pieces and I put
Yes.
them together.
And that's where I am right now. I got a piece here and I got a piece there, but it's not coming together. And I'm like, oh, I'm gonna leave that alone. It
It'll
ain't
come
coming
together.
together. It'll come together. It'll come together. Thank you, Leslie. Baby,
You're
you have a
welcome.
good
Thank
night.
you for having me.
All righty. So let's go from way up northeast and let's go all the way deep south. Let's come on, Dr. Nettles. Let's come to Montgomery. As a matter of fact, as old folks say, I haven't been too long. Come from there.
Yes, yes, yes.
Go ahead and tell them where you're from, how they can find you on social media and buy your books and all that good stuff. And spit 2 poems for us. Here we go.
All righty. Good evening. Good evening. And Julie, thank you for having me. And I am Burnett Clemens Nettles, and I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama, and I presently live in Montgomery. And my writing consists of 2 devotional planners, 2 devotionals, 1 book of prayers, and 1 book of poetry. You can find me in 3 places. My daily prayer website, vcndailypray.com. My author website, which you see before you, www.burnettcnettles.com. Or I am on Facebook, Burnett Nettles. And my books can be purchased on my author website or on Amazon.com, or you can email me at burnettcnettles@gmail.com. My book is titled Unspoken Words, Life's Heartfelt Whispers. And this is the title because so often in life we have words in our head and in our hearts that we don't share. We don't speak for a variety of reasons because they're at our core. So the title Unspoken Word, and the intent is to give voice to the words that we hold dearest to our hearts. And so the first poem I'm going to read is entitled The Mosaic. I heard the whispers of a broken past that hit the ground and shattered into a million pieces. The pieces of my heart, my soul, of me, like grains of sugar on the floor of life. So I prayed. And as I seek to gather my pieces and hold them close to my heart, I realize that they cannot be glued back together, at least not like they were before. So I prayed. I gathered the pieces, piece by piece, the blues of shattered dreams, the reds of broken promises, the deep greens of fractured trust, the purple of hopelessness trying to reign supreme. And as I gathered the pieces and pressed them together, the pieces seemed to change. As I gathered the pieces, my picture seemed to change, creating a new picture of me, to see a new reality, that I am not the same, no longer one dimensional, but the sum of my parts, all parts, the good, the bad, the ugly, the broken. So I praised. My blues, reds, greens, and purple now sparkle together, glittering in the sun of newness. I am not the same. I am a new creature, created in God's splendor. So I praised. So when I hear the whispers of my past that seek to taunt me, I remember that I am the sum of all my parts. I am a mosaic. Amen. The second poem I'm going to read celebrates friendship, and the title of it is Angels in My Midst. Hazy eyes and heavy heart clouded my path as my life ebbed and flowed, changing, evolving, promised, but lonely, and I floundered. Comforted in spirit, but alone in body, my heart wept, and my Lord knew my heart, and granted me rest with angels in my midst, each with their own talent, each with their own purpose, each with their own blessing, to prop me up, not let me falter, to remind me of God's plan, His excellence in our future. And I am grateful for my angels, who with winged purpose have fulfilled their mission, a journey, though not complete, a success. Lyrics of hope and love, music to my heart, for my strength soars. A once faint pulse beats now in tune, as steps once weak now stride sure. For my God knew my heart and granted me angels in my midst. I truly enjoy writing my poetry. Um, you asked the question earlier about the poetry and its inspiration. One of the other things that I've written that I write a lot of are, I call them memorial poems. And when people close to me pass, I just sometimes I sit and wait, and sometimes the words are unexpected, but the words kind of swirl around in my head until they form that poem that celebrates that life. And so I do have that collection of pieces. And you asked about inspiration, and if someone asks you about writing, sometimes I can, sometimes I can't. It really
Mhm.
depends on the topic. But what I like to do is hear people speak about what they vision their topic to be, because then those are the words that form the poetry. We're all poets. We all have words. They're in our hearts, they're in our heads, and some of them are in our hands. But when you get an opportunity to verbalize the words, I can hear where your heart is, and then I can put those words in print. So, a variety of things go on with my poetry.
I know. I definitely can tell that. Now I don't know about. I know that my niece wrote a poem when my grandmother passed away, and it was incredible. But I'm gonna leave that to you and my niece. Y'all can do that. I mean, it's not that I couldn't do it, but it would just be the pressure of doing it by the, as they say, the funeral's at 12, and I'd still be at 11:55 trying to do it.
Now
Thank
you,
you
you
for doing
can't
this.
call me night before the funeral now. Yeah,
Uh, you need a week.
yeah, I need all the day.
I know. Hey, Kalina, how are you, love? Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dr. Nettles. We appreciate you. All
Always.
right. Oh, all right. Well, then we're coming back to the as they say, the LOU. And the poet we have is Miss Tiffany Lachey. Go ahead, love. Tell us where you're from, how people can find you on social media, and how they can purchase your book and follow you, because I know you're a spoken word artist in the city.
Hi everyone. I'm Tiffany Lachey. I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. I do have my debut collection, Growth. It's a poetic autobiography, just about my life poetically. Me. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm poetically free. It's poetically with a K, so the C. Um, and basically, to get a copy of my book, you can inbox me on Instagram at poetically free, and I usually exchange the address and um, sign it and cash out whatever. Here's a. I'm going to read from my growth, and this first piece is called Choice. Thank you for the offer, but I've got this. I've been watching my mother tote her own bags for 28 years. She may have stumbled. She never fell down though. She started wearing sneakers instead of heels. A single mother doesn't have enough time to trot. There's always an errand you must run. Get it done. Your children don't need to see another incomplete. The task is often bitter, but glancing at those smiles provides a lightness in your feet. You can't help tilting your head back and letting the coils bounce free and not bound by a scarf or the hat you've been wearing 8 hours. You're at home now. A place of satisfaction because you're the one who built it. Its foundation is a blessing. It's not perfect. Every home has cracks. That just means it was destined for the journey and it settled over time. White walls painted purple and bright green, two choice colors of mine. We're all given a choice. So make a decision. Sometimes I have to stop to think about it. I am tired. I appreciate the kind gesture. No, thank you. It's just one more block. Besides, you don't know me. I don't know you. I speak because my mother spoke first. It wasn't an invitation, just an act of common courtesy that bewildered your amazement. We're not like most city folk, I guess. Maybe it's the whetstone and Hinton between us that makes us so close. Great friends and diligent workers, just don't push our limits, because when we're through, everyone will notice that something wasn't right. Always smiling, staying late, lending an extra hand, ticking a 25th hour because the kids need new clothing. Forgetting about yourself. Burn the buddies with the ripping them to make do. You don't fret because you find contentment knowing that your children have you and you have them. Hearts beating rhythmically, that boom, boom, boom within our chest flows through my veins like the poetry you've instilled. The ink from this pen drips at its own will, and you all chose to support me. I'm grateful, truly blessed. You didn't have to, yet you chose to. We all have a choice to love and give and share, and love you for encouraging me to utilize my voice, doing what's best for me and my children. Never straying too far from his word, believing that we can do all things despite the circumstances. You pray anyway, and we've all been kept in love. It was his choice, and we've got it. The option to choose, overcoming obstacles with neo soul, jazz, 90 rhythms and blues, Giovanni and Langston Hughes. I grab a pen and paper to sit and reminisce, to show my appreciation. It's my choice to give you this.
Yes,
So
ma'am. I need one more.
Okay. So my second piece I'm going to share is it's actually the last piece of the collection. It's called Piece by Piece, and it's basically about why I write and how I write. Sleepless nights, pens marking sheet streaks with ink unable to be removed to prove the point, in manifesting a collection of stationary pages tacked and crumbled within corners of lives no longer arbitrary. You put that mess together to create something beautiful, unique, and divine. What was once junk lies in the belly of the beast as I rip this piece so that you can better eat this piece. I'm deading all negativity to keep this peace within my heart, and I wish that we would all, in the balance causing the disarray within this piece, meant to open our eyes so that we can see each other, to reunify this piece.
I love it. I love it. The rhythm of it is really incredible. Thank you, Tiffany. Woo! Snaps all the way up. So Langston Hughes is one of my favorites. He was the first book of poetry that was given to me from oh gosh, I guess I was in high school, and of course I was at Eastern High School, and that's where I went to school. So therefore,
Eastern,
yeah. Come on, Eagles. Oh no, but
2009.
Yeah, 2009. Oh, boo! I'm 81. 1981. A long time, yeah. Eastern Eagles, but when I was probably headed in my junior or senior year, that was the first book of poetry. And then of course I just thought Maya Angelou just hung the stars and the moon, as one of my favorites. But I think the cadence of the rhythm. So when you write, do you listen to music?
Actually, no. I like it very quiet.
Oh, okay.
When I write, for me, poetry is just there for me, because my grandmother, she's actually a poet as well. So I've always had, it's just there. I've always had it. She used to write me poems when I was little and everything, and I still have them in the frame.
Oh, wow. That's so wonderful. Oh my
Langston
goodness.
Hughes is he's my favorite poet as well. And he was the first poet that I was introduced to.
He was the first one I was ever introduced to. Of course, Maya Angelou was just, she was kind of larger than life because one, she was very chocolate. And of course, when you're younger, and Julia, which is, you have to look up historical television, but especially Black people on television, there were not a lot of darker hued people on television back at that time. So between, Maya Angelou and, Diane Carroll, who played Julia, I just thought that was just the greatest thing since sliced bread, that she was a main character and beautiful and smart and intelligent on television.
I didn't know she was a dancer.
Yes. It was amazing, amazing, amazing. So thank you so much for being with us. And as they say, giving us the cars and the streets of Louisville in the background. But hold on right there. Don't go away. So as I told you, poetry was my first genre to write. I didn't even know I was writing it at the time. I had just gone through a horrific solid year. I promised my parents that I would get my first master's in a year. I was in Lexington at the University of Kentucky, and I was getting a divorce and a degree at the same time. And it was a horrific time in my life, but writing literally saved my brain and saved my life. So that's where the therapy came. And none of my books have anything to do with any of that time, because I just had to come out of it. I couldn't be in that dark place. So this is my very first book. See how young and cute I was? See? And I put myself on the cover. And when I'm not going to tell you what publisher I went with, I realized I paid a lot of money, but I did all the work. So this is the book that started it all, with BK Royston Publishing. It was released in 2007, and then 2008, it was all over with BK Royston Publishing. So I'm going to read one poem from here, and then I'm going to read another one that I wrote recently, dedicated to my grandparents. My grandfather, who I knew very, very, very well, and I probably say a lot of things from him, but a grandmother I never met. So here we go. Men, men, men. Short ones, tall ones, black ones, white ones, Latin ones, Asian ones. A good, strong, and loving man. A straight sister wants one. Now, before you throw a stone and say I'm straight but don't really want one, I know you've been hurt by one or more than one, but who says that's the only one? Try again, but be careful and wait till the oven's done. You move too quick, fell too hard for the trick. Play hard to get, make him work long and hard for it. Don't give away all your secrets, just like for a dinner, dancing, and a movie flick. Meet his parents, kinfolks, friends, and enemies too. Talk to his co-workers, children, and a good credit check, child, you got to do. There are some good ones still waiting to be caught, but a gold digger will be left standing on the corner, left and not bought. Work on you. Make sure you're ready for a relationship new. Heal the wounds, dry the tears, get rid of the baggage. You and your old relationships for any man is just too much luggage. Stop being so mean, hateful, and brash, looking at the current man and in your mind seeing another man in a flash. Remember, that was then, and this is now. Don't ruin your future with the past hanging around. You just never know. Before it's all through, what started as a friend may end in I do. Yay! I like that one. That was one of my favorites. Okay, and my second poem, I have to take it directly from my computer. Here we go. Henrietta and Jesse's Legacy, a tribute to my grandmother, who I never met on my father's side. She died when my father was young. Her name was Henrietta Marshall Forey, and my grandfather, Jesse Lee Forey Sr. I stand on the shoulders of Jesse and Henrietta, tobacco sharecroppers with just love and a dream, born a little more than a generation from slavery, bondage with masters, lynchings, and a life of hatred and the mean. Jesse could never read or write his own name. Chicken was how he was known. Driving fast, working hard, and keeping you laughing, that was his Henry County fame. He put an X on every paper in the place of his name. X marks the spot of his character, wisdom, and endurance, a carefree spirit, and exceptionally brilliant. Jesse was his name to claim, and he was the king of his domain. Henrietta was Jesse's love of his life. Many babies from much love, and she was a prayer-filled wife. The story is she could read, write, and teach. Given an opportunity, even as a woman, any place, she could also preach. She died young, 40 to be exact. She was the glue, tape, and nails that kept the family intact. She found favor with not only God, but also with man. She risked her life for her faith, children, and every member of her clan. I never met her, but I live to tell the story because she's here in our eyes. Smiles and voluptuous female bodies, That's her glory. Most of us stand no more than 5 feet 3. Standing tall, heads high, we're Henrietta and Jesse's legacy. As I write this, I feel them and can clearly see 5 generations from them have been born and survived to be doctors, teachers, lawyers, and preachers too, entrepreneurs, leaders, care and love in whatever we do. Jesse and Henrietta died not knowing most of our names. It doesn't matter how they died, they lived. Their legacy we must claim. Their lives spoke volumes in spite of being cut short. Living to the full, overflowing with love, good, bad, and work, life is no resort. Whose shoulders do you stand on to live this life full and free, in spite of the trouble, hardships, and the continued fight for liberty? I offer my testimony as a monument in air to the Henrietta and Jesse Forey legacy. Forey for life. Yay! So Forey is my maiden name. Hi. Let's see, who was the comments? You haven't written. Well, Kalina, sit down and write, baby. Because you've written books. You're an author. Kalina Fitzpatrick is in the great state of Texas, and you haven't written since college. Baby, get that pen. You still, as they say, you still alive and breathing, baby. Get that computer out. Get that phone out. Get that pen and paper, notebook, get the pen. Yeah. Brooks is showing you his pen. Tiffany's got her notebook. I got my notebooks. I still got my spiral notebooks. I still use them.
Yeah.
And get to writing and see what God says and see what he flows from your hot head and for your heart out there on paper, because we would love to hear it. So, and I trust that. Have you retired from teaching? Maybe. Yes. You got time? Have you retired yet? Are you still giving your gifts to education? Because she's a fellow teacher, like we are, Vernette. So in the Dallas Fort Worth, in that area, Texas is so huge. I never know. So I trust that you enjoyed. Yes, retired. Congratulations! Yay!
Yes,
Yay!
you got something to do.
Yeah.
You got something to do.
Yeah.
You got a whole lot of free. I don't know if she got free time, because I know Kalina.
You write that book though.
Yeah. So I trust that you enjoyed the poetry read today. You can find all of these poets on social media, Instagram, as I say, Instagram for the younger ones, Facebook for the older ones, and and be sure and support them. We greatly appreciate it that you celebrate Black Poetry Day, and we'll be back in April to celebrate National Poetry Month too as well. If you're interested in writing, reach out to me. I have one last writers workshop coming up on November 13th. No, I'm not going to put a flyer out publicly. It's going to be invitation only. So jump in, get on my email list, inbox me, give me some more details, Julia. I'll be happy to. So inbox me November 13th. I think Dr. Nettles is going to be there with me at this event. And Dr. Nettles, I think we're going to have to go 3 hours. I don't think 2 hours is going to be enough based on what happened Saturday. We had a for 4 hours. I'm like, ooh, we're not going. No, 2 is not long enough. So we'll have to go at least 3 hours. So looking forward to that on November 13th. But you all be blessed, and thank you so much for being with us. And be sure and share, and I'll post the replay and all that good stuff. And just in case you missed it this time, and I know the funny algorithms, sometimes you don't see it when we go live, but don't worry about that. We'll make sure that you're able to see it and be able to support everybody that was on tonight. So thank you so much. You all be blessed. We'll talk soon. Hey, Miss Peggy, how you doing? Hey, love. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.